The Social Security Administration has recently made changes that could impact supplemental security income and Social Security disability insurance payments. Millions of people who depend on these programs may see larger checks this week because of a new rule that affects how benefits are calculated. For many years, payments under SSI and SSDI have been adjusted based on inflation and annual cost of living increases, but this new development could provide more immediate financial relief. The purpose of the rule is to ensure that people receiving disability or supplemental income are not left behind when living costs rise faster than expected. Beneficiaries of SSDI usually qualify based on their work history and the payroll taxes they have paid into the Social Security system. SSI, on the other hand, is for people who are disabled, blind, or over age 65 and have very limited income and resources. Both groups rely heavily on their monthly benefits, and any change to these payments makes a direct difference in their ability to cover essentials like food, housing, and healthcare. The new rule recognizes how quickly expenses have been increasing and aims to provide recipients with a bit more financial breathing room. The average monthly benefit for SSDI recipients has typically ranged around $1,500 to $1,700. While SSI benefits are usually lower, with a federal maximum that has been just over $900 for an individual in 2024. With the new change, however, some recipients are expected to see an increase that could bring their total benefit to levels higher than previously projected. For certain people with qualifying circumstances, the payments could reach over $3,000 and in special cases even cross the $4,000 mark. These amounts depend on lifetime earnings, work credits, and other eligibility factors. But the key update is that more people are moving into higher payment categories this week. The Social Security Administration has confirmed that the adjustments are already being applied to checks that are scheduled for deposit. Recipients who receive their payments through direct deposit should see the updated amount reflected as early as this week. Those who still receive paper checks will also get the adjusted figures, though the delivery may take longer depending on mail schedules. The agency's goal is to make sure the increase is applied smoothly without requiring recipients to take extra steps or file additional paperwork. For many families, this change could not come at a better time. Rising rents, grocery prices, and medical expenses have created a heavy burden for those living on fixed incomes. A larger Social Security payment can mean the difference between paying all monthly bills on time or having to choose which essentials to cover first. For people with disabilities who already face challenges finding stable employment, these increases are not just welcome but necessary for maintaining a basic standard of living. Some recipients have already reported noticing higher deposit amounts than expected, leading to questions about whether this was an error. However, the administration has clarified that the increases are intentional and part of the new adjustment. The rule reflects updated cost calculations and ensures payments stay aligned with the financial needs of beneficiaries. For people who have long felt that their checks did not keep up with real-world costs, this is a rare piece of good news. It is important to note that not every recipient will see the maximum possible increase. The exact amount of a person's SSI or SSDI check depends on multiple factors, including their work history, other sources of income, and eligibility rules. Still, even a few hundred extra dollars per month can significantly reduce financial pressure, especially for households already stretched thin. For individuals relying entirely on these benefits, the updated payments can offer a stronger sense of stability. The timing of this adjustment has also caught attention, as it arrives months before the typical annual cost of living announcement. Normally, beneficiaries have to wait until the start of the new year when the Social Security Administration applies the annual cost of living adjustment. That adjustment, known as the COLA, is based on inflation data from the Consumer Price Index. It is usually announced in October and applied in January. Because of that schedule, many families plan their budgets around the expectation that payments will stay flat until the beginning of the next year. The fact that this week's increase is happening much earlier has surprised many and has created a sense of relief for those who were worried about making it through the rest of the year without additional help. By acting earlier, the Social Security Administration has given people faster access to support at a moment when they need it most, rather than requiring them to wait several more months. Financial experts point out that while this increase is very welcome, It should not be seen as a permanent guarantee that checks will remain at these higher levels every single month going forward. The payments are being updated to reflect current economic conditions, but conditions can change again in the future. Inflation rates, the cost of essential goods, and other economic drivers may rise or fall, and benefits could be adjusted again in response. The Social Security Administration has a responsibility to make sure its programs are sustainable while also protecting the people who rely on them. For now, though, the larger checks arriving this week are providing immediate help, and that immediate help is what matters most for millions of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Many people who receive SSI and SSDI benefits live very close to the poverty line. Even though the programs are designed to provide basic financial support, the amounts have often not been enough to cover all living costs in today's economy. Rising rents, higher grocery prices, medical co-payments, utility bills, and transportation expenses all add up quickly. A modest increase in monthly benefits can prevent people from falling into debt or relying on credit cards to survive. It can also help beneficiaries maintain access to necessary medications or allow them to choose healthier food instead of cheaper but less nutritious options. For older adults on fixed incomes, an increase in Social Security benefits can relieve the constant worry of running out of money before the end of the month. Families who support disabled children or relatives face even greater financial pressure because of extra costs related to caregiving, accessibility equipment, or specialized medical needs. For these households, the larger checks are not just helpful but essential for stability and peace of mind. The new rule has been described as a shock because of how suddenly it was put into effect and because of the size of the increases for some recipients. People are used to government changes taking a long time to roll out, often requiring months of notice, paperwork, or even legal challenges before anything becomes official. In this case, however, the adjustment came quickly, signaling a recognition of how urgent the situation is for millions of Americans. Beneficiaries have expressed gratitude for the change, saying that the increase came just when they needed it most. At the same time, some remain cautious. They want to be sure that this is not a one-time bump or a mistake, but rather a real and lasting adjustment to their monthly payments. That cautious optimism shows just how important these benefits are to people's daily lives, and how even small changes can create a big impact on feelings of security and trust in the system.